Let's meet you, sir.
You already know me. My name is Honorable Ossai N Ossai. I represent the Okwani Federal Constituency of Delta State. I'm an Okwani man.
Okay, sir, the issue of corruption, you know, like they say, is the cankerworm that's eating up and is still eating up Nigeria. Recently, several revelations have been made or investigations have been carried out by EFCC. Some persons have been kept in EFCC custody. Monies have been recovered. Whether they are yet to be prosecuted or not, but they have been telling us that monies have been recovered and some of these monies even returned to the coffers of the Federation. And then again, President Muhammadu Buhari has come up to say his major obstacle in the fight against corruption, which he did promise Nigeria during his campaign to become president of Nigeria, was he said the judiciary is his major obstacle. Do you agree with him on this side?
Yeah, I don't agree. You know, based on the fact that every organs of government have their own functions, and if one organ has not prepared its own house very well effectively in terms of prosecutions, you can't really blame it on another institutions of government. Has been problems that I find a way of going about it. I think most of the issues that why most Nigerians get themselves removed from total prosecution or get most of these issues thrown out in the court is that most of our legislatures are not up to date. And this 8th Assembly have tried as much as possible to update them. And you agree with me that my amendment bill on ICPC, and EFCC, and the Code of Conduct areas to strengthen them and make sure those leakages that people can manipulate in the court are not given that kind of room. And I think that's what we should focus on, rather than criticizing one organ of government. Judiciary have been up and doing. They have been the hope of common man, and they will continue to be. It is what you put in that judiciary is going to look into to be able to deliver justice. And if the laws are flawed, there's no way justice can be done. If you see people, you perceive that they are supposed to be indicted and they are not, because probably you've not done your work effectively. Oftentimes you expect the executive to also make their own proposal in terms of bill, to come out as an executive bill to strengthen most of these our laws, and they have not been doing that. And you see also many of us who have taken it upon ourselves in the 8th Assembly to strengthen our law. That means we the 8th National Assembly, is fighting real corruption by really strengthening our laws and making sure that those leakages are corrected, are cured. And that's how it's supposed to be. So instead of blaming the judiciary, you should collaborate with the executive should collaborate with the legislature in looking at the laws holistically and knowing areas that most of these people you are prosecuting are getting free of. You strengthen those laws and make sure that it's workable. And as long as these laws are churned out from the legislature, that the executive should sign the bill, whether it's a private member bill or a government bill. You don't just only sign the government bill that suits you, but you should sign even private member bills that are posted written and are submitted to your desks.
Okay, but sir, again, you know that before now, the former EFCC was this woman, Farida Waziri, said the problem is not with the laws in prosecuting this accused, but again that it is with the judiciary. She has also in the past blamed the judiciary on.
She is coming from an intelligence community, like a former police officer, and probably do not understand. What will I say? Will I say probably doesn't have much knowledge on the issues as pertaining the legislature and legislation. And there are many laws, even when he has talked. Why am I amending about 8 sections in the law? If the laws are such a perfect document, I'm amending about 8 sections in the law. So what we're saying is a proper understanding about the law. And you cannot just prosecute somebody and you don't have the basic facts to prosecute him. The law will give you the access to be able to gather facts. Like a law mandating the banks to give you information on certain person issues of transactions. Those are ways of strengthening the law, so that you gather your facts before you prosecute. You don't just prosecute by speculation. The court will not admit that. Court say you must prove beyond reasonable what? Doubt. And that's how justice ought to come. So the issues of gambling should not be an issue. Rather, the three arms of government should sit down in what we call probably a retreat. Where top merchants of government, senior judges, senior executive persons like ministers and the president, and the National Assembly as a whole should have a retreat. How do we want to push our country forward? What are the one impeding these issues of prosecutions? These are issues you need to look. The judges will come with their own perspective. The executive will make their input, and the legislature will be saddled to be able to put all this input, knowing fully well that they are representing a people too. It shouldn't make a law that is obnoxious, a law that can take out people's rights. So it is in that light that there should be this cooperation, even if there is separation of power. There should be cooperation between these three arms of government instead of blaming each other. I don't think that blaming issue should come to the. It's an issue that we should be discussing, putting our energy into. But we should look at the situation where the president can call for a retreat of these top merchants, and for 3 days retreat. Nigerians will come out with a proper blueprint on how governance are supposed to be. Individuals will respect their ethical standards must be established. Those are the issues we are talking about. You could see me bringing up a bill on ethics and values, forming an agency to be able to enforce the law on ethics, and values as it pertains to the governance of our country. So these are issues. These are new laws. The laws have not been there before. So how do you enforce such things in governance?
Okay, but again, do you agree with this issue of death sentence for corrupt persons? You know that
death sentence has passed. I raised.
Somebody has been sentenced to death in the issue of corruption.
I raised the issue of even removing death sentence from armed robbers to a life imprisonment, but it was rejected at the floor. Death sentence is not in vogue. Like what I raised, about 149 countries has deleted their death sentence. About 40-something again has also removed it. So it's not in vogue. And the fifth,
serve as deterrent for
the only way is you confiscate if such person is found. You confiscate all his or her own properties and give him life in jail. If you warrant the issues of giving life in jail, depending on the kind of money the person has earmarked with. So these are issues we looked at. There are issues that why are we sending people to prison? Are we sending people to prison to make the prison feel? We're sending people to prison to rehabilitate people. Their mental psyche. If somebody who have stolen a lot of money, like billions of naira, you find out that his brain is not thinking well. How can he finish that money? Are you planting for people you don't know their future? I don't know whether you understand. The current people should be well satisfied. You plan for the economic growth. And once the economic growth of the country is planned, definitely your children will also benefit from it. So these are issues. So when people begin to steal billions of naira, I think it's barbaric. I think they are insane. Maybe if you begin to see people stealing billions of naira, I feel that man is insane. He has to be corrected. He has to be taken to a rehabilitating center. And going to prison, maybe for a few years or some years, will rehabilitate that person and he will come out as a normal human being. That is sane.
But on a very final note, what do you think about this present administration's anti-corruption work generally?
I think I should commend Mr. President, for having the political will, to see as one major agenda of his is how to bring the people who have stolen money to book. thereby putting also fear for those of them who intend before to steal. I think it's a good one, and that is within
you've heard in the past.
That is within the speculative realm. I have not seen any legislator that
in the past
involved
too,
in that.
You had persons like Farouk Lawa.
You see, why are you talking about the issue of Farouk?
Saying that, what do we do on the part of legislators whom have been accused severally of, collecting monies from their counterparts, the executive, MDAs, they go for oversight instead of, oversight, they'll tell we, the press people, no, it's time when the questions are becoming, when it's obvious that this person, that a particular executive or DG is to be indicted on what he or she has not done right, then they will ask us, the press, to excuse them, go into closed doors, and whatever happens in closed doors, nobody explains to us. But in most cases, that is what we see here. How do you then report when they are saying this person awarded contracts and those contracts were not done, and then along the line you ask the press to stay out, and nobody comes out to tell you the outcome of such investigations? And apart from that, people have come out to still accuse, Nigerians have come out to accuse legislators of, collecting monies from these MDAs and then keeping quiet, even on the budget issue. At times, even when these budgets come in, when they bring in budget, some monies are being over.
I think those things I think those things are within the speculative realms.
But what is this 8th assembly?
No, I'm coming. You see, whether 8th or whether 7th, whether 6th, whether 5th assembly, you raise an issues of oversight functions. So I think, to the best of my knowledge, the National Assembly has been doing very well in terms of oversight functions, and we have not been found wanting. And there's no way. There's no committee I've gone that will tell press to excuse us. And I believe that we have been doing the right thing. And except if you have anything contrary, that you have seen people done what done, you should bring it after I'm a chairman of ethics and privileges. Be able to look into it and be able to report to Nigeria for our findings. And I believe that what we are saying is within the speculative realm. The National Assembly is up and doing, and they will continue to do their job in lines with the law of exposing corruption. The 7th Assembly made a lot of recommendations to the executive. None was executed. So most of our findings are taken to executives. So the legislator cannot bring findings and at the same time prosecute. It is the executive that prosecutes. So the legislator will always do his finding, makes his report, make a resolutions, and his resolutions are communicated to the executives.
Yes, sir, you've thrown another issue again open. This issue of non-implementation of resolutions by the National Assembly.
Yeah.
I think it's becoming worrisome.
So the press should be able to face the executive.
The report we just got is that over 300 or 3,000 resolutions have been passed by both houses of the National Assembly, chambers, and
there are different kinds of resolutions. There are resolutions.
None of those resolutions have been.
So you see, there are different. There are different kinds of resolutions.
The National Assembly should do something, or maybe like you were saying about on the issue of corruption, sitting down with the executive and finding a way, a lasting solution, because it's becoming embarrassing, don't you think so? Where resolutions are made, and these resolutions, if actually implemented, are meant to, Nigerians are meant to benefit from these resolutions. Like, take for instance, we the press, I personally even covered that proceeding whereby 1,000 naira was collected from Nigerians for the recruitment exercise for immigration. Though we know that the president, the then minister, is facing corruption charges as regards that. But then the National Assembly, that committee, passed a resolution that the 1,000 naira should be refunded to members of the public that paid this money. And then some persons that even lost their life thereafter, that the federal government even promised that they were going to give jobs to their relatives, and for the injured, I mean, nothing seems to be done. Even in the 8th Assembly, that issue was, I mean, brought up again. The majority leader and the minority leader were amongst members of this committee. They came up again with a resolution, and I don't know. Nothing seems to be done.
A joint resolution has a force of law. If it's a joint resolution between the Senate and the House of Reps, has a force of law. But other resolutions are just mere recommendations, to the executive that we have seen looked at it and prosecute. You understand what I'm saying? So those ones might not have the real force of law, but it's a contribution from the House saying the executive, we have investigated this and we have seen this, and this is our result. Look into it and prosecute such person. You understand? But the other ones is mandatory. It's mandatory. The joint resolution is mandatory.
So what happens if at the end of the day the executive does not implement such a
then the press should focus their eyes on the executive, because if you don't implement a resolution that tend to help the masses, the press should focus on them and be able to bombard them.
Beyond
I don't think the press has always been bombarding the legislators on issues that they are not working, but we have also worked.
The press has also done same to,
I don't think you have done executive enough the way you estray the legislature. You should estray the executive and be able to rate them in terms of their job performance. I think that is what people should do, agency by agency, ministry by ministries. This will open the president's mind and eye, open his eye to see the agencies that are really doing the work and the ones that are not doing the work. I think those are the issues. You should look at estray the executive well, because people have not done enough in that regard.